Yea, verily. Last time on Dice Funk.
I want to make a doorway underneath this thing to force it out the way.
But I imagine you just drive the sled through its head.
Oh my god.
That's so mean. I love it.
By the time this season is over, your village will be gone.
We have to seriously consider the possibility of making Voya governor again in order for her to do what she can to stop the imminent threat of the quarry in the dreaming dark.
I thought we wanted Gigi to merge with the thing so that the thing would be on our side. Isn't that the whole Kalashtar myth? As if that they change sides to fight the bad dark? We should just finish that, so then we'll have it on our side and it'll tell us how to win.
Okay, then just temporarily, Voya is governor.
We fucking played into Imri's plan, huh?
Bioweapon in the bad way. Run away.
Master Voya, are you a zombie now?
Voya floats up a couple feet off the ground to address the crowd. Magic crackling from her fingers all around her and over her, as if she's like getting used to wielding it. And she says, I believe the technical term is lich. Speaking of animal facts, not that Mari is an animal. I guess you are. I just meant following. I fucked this up now. The transition is smooth. Now it's not. The transition's ruined.
It's too late. I'm insulted.
The animal fact I need to get straight with the audience is one that they actually haven't heard as of this recording because we're in the future. But I was editing a previous episode we've recorded, and we fucked up because you asked the sheep for some of their wool, and you said that it was flammable. And I said, oh yeah, because of the tallow. And then later I Googled it, and tallow is from their fat, not their wool, and wool is flame resistant.
Nope.
Not
No.
flammable.
No. Because in the TV show Once Upon a Time, there is a character who wants to start a fire. And they just happen to formerly be a sheep herder. And they got the grease from the inner layer of... Only the outer layer is water resistant. The inner layer is flammable. Don't ever correct me again.
Austin, no one fucked up. These are fantasy sheep that have tallow in their wool.
And second of all, Nobi also was on fire. So we have canonical evidence that the outer layer is flammable. I never want to...
Okay, two things. I said resistant, not inflammable. Obviously, if wool will, burn, it will char is the technical term of what will happen to it. The thing we were discussing, and the audience is no doubt screaming at us, is that it's called lanolin, the thing you're talking about.
Okay, then it was lanolin. You're the one who fucked up, not me.
What are you gonna do? Punch me in the belly button?
Yeah. I would argue that me being shorter puts me directly in line with your weak points.
Shorter people have an advantage when fighting riot cops because riot cops are covered in loads of really top-heavy gear.
Yep.
So you get down low and you swipe their legs, and they're like a turtle. They can't get anywhere, and that makes it really easy to... And it's good.
Yeah,
and
dodge
that's a great
roll.
piece of practical advice for anyone who wants it.
Okay, new Patreon goal video of Mari kicking my ass. $40,000 a month.
5'3".
Okay, so we've been tricked into having a fight with a lich. Let's have this fight.
Oh, you tricked, were you? You were tricked. Interesting. That's how you saw it.
There was a lack of clarity as to what was being offered.
Yeah, it's almost like several people had their own agendas throughout the season.
I don't feel like I was tricked because I've been working towards the worst possible outcome at all times.
Perfect. That's what you got to do. Okay, I'm going to set this up. We're on Applewhite's farm. We're in front of the gender-neutral confinement area. Voya has come back as a lich, or come back is an interesting term which we can talk about. But the necrotic force of that sent like a wave that blasted everyone away. And actually like killed all the plant life around her. It's like like a crop circle now. She's standing in the middle of like all this dead grass and all the snow has been blown away. You're all, standing back at the edge of this where there's like, crops that are lightly dusted with snow. But everyone in the village is here. And Voya's like floating, crackling with energy. I think she mage hands a star map over to her to be a spell casting focus, or the quarterstaff Ozzy has. Can I have that?
I guess. Sure.
You don't sound enthused. I just wanted her to have an item.
That's fine. That's fine. No, I mean, I was trying to think like star map or like something that looks more wizardry, wizardly that would go okay with the lich aesthetic. I don't know. The fan art will decide what she has, I guess.
Hey, Voya. So you are a lich? That's neat. I don't think you are still governor because it is pretty clear when a governor dies, that triggers a new sortition. But if you want to put your name in the hat for being mayor again, governor again, you can. How's it like being a lich?
That's really good. Voya's like floating there with the quarterstaff. She is once again a goblin, so physically pretty small, dressed in like loose robes. She's a mystic, so she has a kind of like almost, palm reader, hippie aesthetic. And she's crackling with energy as you say this, and she turns to you, Phillippa, and says, I think I'm still governor. Yeah, I've decided I am. What are you going to do about it, Phillippa?
Oh, I mean, not much. It's really up to the village.
I mean, even the whole, you just dying aside, you also did agree to not be governor, and that is... I feel like we fulfilled those circumstances. I feel like you are not governor anymore.
Yeah, you said it in a dream, so I'm pretty sure that's binding.
If you promise to not be governor in the dream, you promise to not be governor in real life.
That's how it works.
Well, I guess we'll just use the zone of truth on me to see if that's the agreement we made. Oh, darn. Where's the priest?
Well, he was murdered.
Yeah, I see you've done a fine job as governor, Phillippa.
Hey, that's not nice.
Yeah, that's very rude. You've been sleeping on a mountaintop for like a really long time. So I don't understand why you think you have the right to say anything negative.
Also, you died.
Yeah, you died, so that kind of negates anything, yeah.
You can't stay governor if you die. It's kind of Governor 101.
Yeah, where's that in the law? Let's pull out the Constitution. Anybody have it on hand? Oh yeah, we run a traditional unwritten goblin culture.
Except we don't. We started writing down laws and stuff, didn't you, Phillippa?
Yes, I've been writing a lot I documented all of the kind of common sense parts of the law, including what I just said. The governor, if you die, it's kind of the most basic part of... You need protocol for this kind of thing.
Is there some sort of vast personality change that happens on the point of becoming a lich? Or has your brain been swapped with a lich thing?
My brain's the same as it's ever been. I don't feel exactly the same. And she's like, looks at her hands and like, front and back, like the way you do when you're high, and just like a little bit of like, whoa, dude. But she says, I still have all the same memories and thoughts. It's me.
Basil's gonna look to Arze and ask, I'm assuming this isn't how Voya was before, right?
I'm just thinking back to, the day that, Laszlo, in quotes, left. I remember you two arguing about this, and you said that you weren't interested in his plans for you to be governor forever, to live forever.
I disagreed with the part of the plan where he would kill someone.
Voya, can we table the discussion about how you are not governor? Because I was really just stating the protocol, but actually we asked you to awaken so that you could close the veil to the dreaming dark.
Yes, of course. That is why all this has happened. I foresaw in the stars that my power would be needed to save the village. You're welcome.
Was it necessary to become a lich to do that?
Yes, I would literally be dead right now from old age, and there's no other way to avoid such a fate. It's impossible to be resurrected.
All right, well, that makes sense. All right, why didn't you just say that?
You didn't ask. You immediately started talking politics.
Okay, well, to be fair, you did immediately seize control over the town after we specifically asked you not to.
We are tabling this discussion.
Oh, yeah, tables.
Right. I will go get a table.
Thank you.
Aze will then also think for a moment and then ask, is there a reason why you didn't want me to tell anyone about where I took you those years ago then, if this was all just part of the plan? I just have to, this is quite a lot for me to take in at the moment, Voya.
You're asking why I wouldn't want anyone to know where my defenseless, unconscious body was hidden for many years.
She kind of got you there, bro.
At this point, several of the other villagers are talking like loudly amongst themselves, particularly Applewhite, who's like,
What a shock.
I don't think we should just let anybody who just declare themselves governor for life. I don't think that's how this should work. And Venta's like, yeah, and I don't want them to fortify the veil. I want a quarry. And there's like a vocal anti-Voya kind of constituency here.
Phillippa goes, Applewhite, I swear to God, we have just had explicitly, we are talking about how we don't want... Are you... Huh. Cat backs out of the governor's office, pulling Philippa's desk by one corner with her mouth.
Very good.
That's incredible. Also, there's a pretty pro-Voya contingent also discussing things. You could hear Hale be like, finally, I've always wanted a Voya to be back. Now things can get back to the way they were. And Potter's like, yeah, I mean, she's the best leader we've ever had, and we got to close this veil, so this all makes sense. And there's like two very distinct camps growing here.
I would like to disagree in that Phillippa brought much needed infrastructure to the village that was ignored for many years.
There is a bridge now. Aze kept on eating shit on the ice, and now he will not anymore.
My only feeling here is that I feel like no matter who has power, if anyone has power completely without limits forever, that's going to be a problem. Like, that doesn't seem like that's ever going to pan out well, no matter how good the person.
Maybe I don't need to get bogged down in examples right now, but there have been many people who have ruled for life and really have not done much, at least much worse than a series of elected representatives serving a repeated term.
No, but at the very least, having a policy where someone can be in power forever and not there be no way to remove them seems very rife for abuse. You cannot guarantee that forever will only be good people.
I have brought the table so that the discussion goes.
Yeah.
Great job, Kat.
You pull the table onto Applewhite's farm, and I think what I'm going to call the pro-Voya faction all like gets around one end of it. That's Voya, Potter, Hale. Gigi's still in the gender-neutral confinement area, but wants to be rid of the quarry, so is on that side. And Shoko is just kind of Team Chaos also there.
She's pulling the drawers out of the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Marina as well. She doesn't have a particularly well-developed political ideology, but I think she just is going along with whoever's floating and crackling with magic at the moment and is open to conversation. Meanwhile, on the other side of the desk, we have Venta, Applewhite, we have Nobi, we have Anne, and we have the arrival of some good neighbors full of Mold. Mold himself is still in the town center, pretty far away, but it has sent over some good neighbors to kind of listen on his behalf.
Oh, I wave at the good neighbors.
To
They wave back.
To clarify, did you say that Nobi and Mold and the Good Neighbors are on the not Voya being in charge forever side?
Indeed. Nope. So here's the great irony, or here's the great thing about this, is that Nobi obviously wants the veil to stay thin because he wants a quarry because it gives him power. But what he says is like, you should let my mom be governor again. She's better at it than you.
Well, Nobi, thank you, baby. Listen, it's not necessarily that I should be governor. I am just saying that Voya died, and when a governor dies, there is a sortition, and so there should be new sortition, in my opinion at least. But that can happen after Voya closes the veil.
Voya says, I'm listening to all of your concerns, and there's one element nobody seems to grasp, which is that I can read the stars. I know what's going to happen. All of this is under control. Do you understand? I'm not like other leaders. I have powers beyond your ken.
What number am I thinking of?
3.
I think at this, Anne floats over and lands on you, Kat, and says, "Yeah, Toots, I'm with the Phillippa family. I think you should give the governorship back, you crazy little goblin."
I mean, also, you're making a lot of claims that, by your own admission, no one can magically fact-check right now, and even if they are correct, you having the ability to see the future or whatever in the stars does not mean that you get to decide that you circumvent the entire process that the village has decided is how we pick leaders.
Do the stars have power, or do they not? Aze, tell your fellow village members.
Aze, you don't have to do what they say just because they told you to.
See, this is why when Mari described astrology as astral racism, I really found that funny and made it the episode title. Because if you accept that the position of stars can meaningfully predict events, it's an interesting road it takes you down. If it can tell you what kind of people are before you meet them or before they do anything.
I mean, there's a certain level of determinism and no free will that implies.
Ozzy just sort of looks down at the star map he has, and we'll just say, it's like, I mean, everything that I've studied and have learned suggests that it's the case, but...
So you knew Aze would be accused of murder falsely and you did nothing to stop it?
I knew there would be tough times for Aze, but I knew he'd be fine by the time I got here, and I was right. He's overcome the obstacles, and he's ready to stand by my side.
And what about the people who did die, who were brutally murdered, who, weren't fine? Not everyone here was fine.
Yes, I much would have preferred to have always been immortal. If that had been an option, I would have taken it. Unfortunately, it wasn't. My partner had to enact a long-term plan to gather certain specific items that would allow this to happen. It's a miracle. You're literally witnessing a miracle, you ungrateful little monsters.
Look, what I'm telling you is that, look, you made a choice that you believed it was better for you to do this than for those people who are now dead to be alive. You could have warned. You could have warned that was coming, apparently. That seems to be something you can do. You did not. You are making a lot of choices about this town that are very cavalier about death that occurs to get you where you're going. And that concerns me.
Yeah, at this point she says, I am not going to explain causality to a horse.
Wow.
That horse is my child, Voya.
Gross.
Oh.
I'm so mad in real life.
Would you explain causality to me? Let's take, for example, the question of justice. If someone is going to do a crime, what would you do to that person?
Ooh, this is a great question. She says, it depends on the severity of the crime. If the stars say that someone should be stopped from their crimes, then I'll stop them. It's pretty simple. The needs of the many and so forth.
Minority Report?
Yeah, astrology is Minority Report.
Yeah.
So you plan to punish people before they commit a crime?
Do the stars have power or do they not?
No.
Aze?
As I already said, everything that I've studied and know suggests that they have power, but to what end? I don't.
Does having power necessarily mean that they can predict the future?
It's necessarily no, but it is part of their function. It is part of what they can do and have done.
It's funny because the roles could have gone a completely different way, and there could be no evidence for what she's saying. But the benefic all season until the murders, and then immediately becoming malefic, is so fucking good.
It was
and
wild.
It really,
Yeah.
It really bolsters her claim.
It's really fucking built the fucking narrative, hasn't it?
Yeah. Just like Ozzy just like looks at the star map again and just thinks back to, the few days ago and just the instant that things were going to turn that south for him immediately. It was just instant. And it's just like.
So mechanically, he has with the benefic malefic thing. I want to say kind of what she's referring to is there's a D&D spell called Foresight. So this isn't just, we're not, in purely narrative land. He does not currently have the magic to wield the spell Foresight, and she does. So I want to get that out there.
Right.
So obviously her power's on another level.
But we're using Aze as the witness to prove that this is true. So we're asking Aze, is it possible to be wrong? And technically, you can roll poorly on insight or whatever the fuck, foresight. So yeah, you can't depend on it.
No, foresight gives you perfect knowledge of the future. Like that's the whole point of how foresight works as a spell. Aze's limitation is more of a function that he is not a high enough level druid to. The Aze's answer would be, if there's an inaccuracy in the prediction of the future, it is more likely to be a shortcoming in my ability to read the stars than a failing on the stars themselves.
So I want to establish on what side of the table are all the party members. That goes also for Cat and Sun, Moon, Stars, who I think the players should have meaningful input on. But right now, I can read these lists again if you would like. But I think it's pretty important where everyone's standing right now.
Phillippa is standing halfway in the middle because she is fine with Voya being the governor, especially if she closes the thing. But like if it's what people want, she's just open to the idea and it's fine. Like she doesn't see anything fundamentally wrong with it. Cat's against it, I think.
Basil is fundamentally concerned about the I will rule for all time and I will make the judgments. Would not have been opposed to Voya being in charge had it just been, I am here, why mess around? Like, if they'd made other arguments, maybe, but Basil does not like the way that this is being discussed as a, for all time, I make all the rules and nothing will ever dethrone me move.
Slime, having the previous experience of being something that lives for a pretty long time. Who knows? One day they might die. One day will. I don't know. And they also have the experience of believing that they are much more omnipresent and knows what's best for a village, and then killed them all. So they think this is probably the worst idea ever, and hubris is always going to lead to death.
I will also note that Basil has only ever existed under the sortition system, which I think is colouring a little bit of the no. You keep talking about the way things are like tradition. Tradition here is sortition.
Also, relying on your justice system on a something that only Voya can see
Yeah.
brings up a lot of problems, because even if Voya can see the future, what if Voya sees something in the future they don't like? And then they manipulate events, like in the movie Wanted.
I'll defer to Sun Moon Stars first.
I think Sun Moon Stars is both partially uninterested and also leaning towards the validity of stars, because her mom is a celestial, so obviously there's some bias there.
What does your day look like as governor? You just get up and look at the day and what is going to happen, and then you do what is going to be done by you every day.
Yes, I look at the stars and I chart the course of the village. Their beauty is infinite.
Then why even be alive if you are just practicing the steps of a dance forever, never making your own way, never being your own person?
Voya looks at her hands again the way she did before, just like, whoa, you know. No, she doesn't do the Keanu Reeves voice, but just like literally thinking about what you're saying and not dismissing it out of hand. And she says, intellectually, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I don't have any argument for why you're wrong. I just don't feel what you're saying. It flows over me like water.
Did you love that fox thing? Because that fox thing definitely said they loved you.
Yeah. I think Voya turns to Hale and is like, we can dispense with the charade now. And Hale's like, partner, I don't know what you're talking about.
Ozzy killed in the kitsune.
Yeah, the love of your life is dead. Do you want to keep living?
Voya descends down from the air because she's been floating this whole time and lands on the ground, or maybe even in the chair behind the desk. Did you bring the chair?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
No. Okay, just behind the desk.
You didn't say the discussion was going to be Chad. Come on.
Oh yeah, come on.
Fair enough. You got me. No, I mean if Very was still alive, there'd be a chair, but that's what's been taken from us. And Voya thinks about what you said and says almost the same thing, which is, I know I should be sad. What you've said is sad.
Do you want to feel sad, or do you want to feel numb forever?
Necromancers bring back dead as eternal slaves. Are you making yourself a slave to Grendel forever instead of being who you want to be?
Perhaps. But maybe Grendel needs someone like that.
Why would you not just ask Grendel what Grendel needs?
I've asked the stars.
So, you are a slave to the stars.
As are we all.
So you are no better than animal instinct-like neurochemicals running through the mind of a wild horse. You find oats when you need them. You relieve yourself when you need. You sleep. You do what the stars says. You draw the plow in the field. And you sleep when your masters allow. And you never live.
Who can say differently?
A lot of people.
I had a friend. And she told me to never let anyone stop me from being who I am. And I will do everything I can to make sure that I uphold that promise to her, because it was the last promise I made her.
I feel like after a speech like that, it is kind of gross to say this, but can I get a persuasion roll? Because that is what we're doing.
That's okay. I take that as a measure of Voya's character more than a measure of my performance.
I recognize the need for that, but I'll tell you, you rolled a crit on me for persuasion. I was sat here like,
I'm taking advantage whether Yorski says it or not. 24.
24 was the first roll there anyway. So.
Get fucked.
For the record, the first roll was the 24. So,
Yeah, Voya does listen to you. I mean, the last couple of things people have said, she has genuinely considered. She's not just, ignoring everyone and just being like, "Mwah ha ha, I'm twirling my giant mustache." She is listening and trying to debate in good faith as far as she can. And she
a spellcasting focus is a giant mustache.
I need to write that down for a later NPC in another season. Yeah, she seems to consider that, and maybe she turns to Aze, who still hasn't made a choice, and kind of just like gestures to you to come over to her side of the table.
Aze's been standing like in the middle of the table between the two sides, and doesn't immediately walk towards Voya. When she gestures towards him, he does look her way, and his face is, I would say, from Voya's perspective, the look on his face is that of a heartbreak that is greater than the day that he thought that he was leaving her up in the new world and was seeing her for the last time. There's just something there's just something that's deeply tugging at his heart, and he just can't seem to find either the words or actions to sufficiently express them at the moment.
Voya, do you remember how you felt about Aze in your dreams?
Literally, yes, if not emotionally.
When you look at Aze now, do you feel the same way?
I don't feel much of anything.
So you don't feel anything anymore?
For I think the third time, she does that thing where she holds her hands up and like a wind, gust comes through, and she just like tries to grab it, and she says, "Not much of anything at all."
So, all you have is your decisions, your personhood. No feelings, no sensation, and you're going to use your decisions for what the stars want.
You'll use me to close the veil, but you won't let me protect you.
You can protect us. You just don't have to be in charge. We can have an election.
I didn't say you had to close the veil. You can close the veil if you want to.
The thing I think concerns me most, more than anything else, more than you wanting to be in charge forever, is the fact that you have seemingly very callously decided that if you don't get to be in charge, what the stars want, or what you want, I don't know which it is that everyone here should suffer because you didn't get your way. And I don't know whether you think the stars have told you that, or whether you emotionally believe that. But you apparently love this place and want to protect it. And the idea that you would let people here suffer when you could prevent it because you wouldn't be given what you want deeply concerns me about the prospect of you being in charge.
Also, since you don't have any emotions anymore, have you considered the thought that if you don't get what you want, and you don't close the veil, and we don't let you become mayor, and we all die, that your stars would be wrong?
That's what I'm telling you. I'm following the stars. If we derail one thing, who's to say how much gets derailed? You fight the stars at your own peril.
Who cares?
Derailed, you say? So things can change and what you have predicted may not come to pass? That sounds fallible.
Voya, I don't have more arguments, but if you would like to see a painting, I think it might help you think.
A painting?
Yeah, the painting of that feeling from when you nut.
That's right.
I made a painting of one of the strongest feelings, and you may or may not feel it when you look, but I think that it may give you much to think on.
This is such a Dice Funk ass moment.
Are you hoping that Voya will feel better for some post-nut clarity?
It is in Venta's cave, if you would like to look. I am not saying you will feel anything, but if you do or you don't, it might make you think.
Okay, so do you want to move this party to Venta's cave? Is that what's happening right now?
Can't you just fly over real quick so we don't know where to go?
Who is the biggest on each side of the table? Applewhite, you pick up one side. Actually, Applewhite, you should be in the middle with me because you don't want there to be any governor.
I mean, the biggest are the 5 good neighbors.
True.
Nobi, can you tell these good neighbors to move the desk to the Venta's cave?
Yeah, sure, whatever. This is dumb. You should just be in charge.
Well, only if that is what is democratically decided.
Oh my god, goblins don't do democracy. No one's paying attention.
The people's mandate goes to whatever tradition the people put their faith into. Even in the case of something like a monarchy or an autocracy, you see.
Phillippa hops up onto the desk as the good neighbors carry it, and she's just going on and on and on and on about systems of governance as they carry her across to Venta's cave.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I love that. You're giving a lecture as the group crosses the tarn, and I think Voya sees it and it's like, nice bridge.
Thank you. Slime, it's partly slime.
Also, partly Phillippa, for coming up with the idea and realizing that the city needed infrastructure that would help its citizens. Something you never did, Voya.
Yes, Aze hasn't eaten shit one time since we built it, even up the mountain.
Right. Your own child.
But perhaps it was not in the stars for there to be a bridge. Maybe there will be some unforeseen
Well, guess what?
consequences.
Well, guess the stars can't guess everything, can they?
Right.
If it's not in the stars, then the stars are wrong.
This is like arguing with somebody who cites the Bible. It just makes me so mad.
Go on. Yes.
Well, the Bible says, how the fuck am I supposed to argue with an intangible being? Like, what?
Yeah, how are you supposed to argue with someone who decides, nope, it has been foretold, therefore I'm right?
Dinosaur bones were implanted there by the devil.
So the party makes it to the cave, and they all it's actually a barber shop in a cave, and it's like the whole village is crammed in here. It's like it's like unintentionally pretty funny, but everyone's like crowded around the mural like it's the Mona Lisa.
And we're all filled as a group by that feeling of when you're not.
Mold, you are not vetted, but you can come and look at the painting, which is like when you nut.
Wait, so you say that to Mold on the way there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want Mold to be left out. Everyone else is that.
Yeah, Mold needs to feel included.
Mold needs to know what it feels like when you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mold is in a giant skeleton, basically, and so has to move pretty slow, reaches the cave last and can't fit, I think.
Well, just bring the painting outside.
It's on the wall.
It's on the wall.
Or just break open the hole bigger.
Fuck.
Basil stays back outside to describe the picture of the feeling of when you nut.
What does he say?
Well, it's, I would describe the visual, but it's not really about the visual, it's about the feeling. The feeling is, and we continue onwards.
I feel like in the HBO adaptation, the painting is never shown, and it's one of those things where, like, you only ever have, it's the fourth wall. Like,
Yeah.
when people are looking at it, they're basically looking into the camera at the audience every time.
I don't like that because it implies the audience is the feeling when you nut.
They are.
Slime goes inside, looks at the painting, has some slimes elect to immigrate to mold and to let them know how the painting looks. And so that now, and then slime goes over to mold and spits them at mold so the mold can know what it looks like.
Spits them?
Just spits the slime cells who are willing.
Sort of
Yeah, the slime colony.
Expels a little mucus at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Projectile
So that-
vomits, just did.
Yeah. Well, this is how we communicate.
Just
So,
ejaculates
just this
a little tiny bit of slime onto.
Yeah, I nut so that mold can know the feeling of nut. All right. So now mold knows.
When there is no nut in the sand, that is when I
That's nothing.
Not
Love
to
this
toy.
show.
It just feels unfair for mold to not be able to see it.
Yeah, I want mold to know what it's like when you. That's why I invited.
Well,
him.
now mold knows. I spat a little bit of colony to give them an exact replication of what it looks like in their mind.
We can do it. We can do it, guys. We can just keep telling the story without Austin. We can just keep going. Come on, what happens next?
And then Voya decides to be nice. The end. Good season, everyone.
Okay, so as they're all crammed in the cave looking at the mural of Voya is taking in this feeling like when you nut.
Wait. Wait, how does mold feel about it?
Well, I was going to say that you see it, you have some of your cells think about it, and then you spit them on mold to communicate that, and that's happening in the background. These are like two simultaneous events.
Okay.
Because there's like a lot of chemical exchange that has to happen here. But yeah, Voya's looking at it, and you're all like pressed up against her and each other in the cave, and she says,
I don't know if we should be pressed up against each other while nutting.
I've never been to the Louvre, but it's like a lot of people, right?
It is.
So it's horribly crowded.
It is
sucks.
absolutely
Yep.
crowded. Yeah.
Well, around the Mona Lisa, it is.
Right.
And you all know that when you look at the Mona Lisa, it's like that feeling like when you nut.
The rest of the Louvre is pretty good, and actually the best part is the part that nobody goes to, where there's the ruins of an old castle underground. There's the foundation stones of an old castle underground inside the Louvre, and nobody goes to those spots. It's really, really neat. It's in like special, how they have to like light things differently to stop them from degrading.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like dark lighting in there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why they call her the Mona Lisa, because when you nut.
Oh my god.
That joke, yeah.
The time for it passed, but I
Yeah.
had already thought of it, and I had to share the brain poison with everyone.
You sure did.
Voya looks at it and just says, I don't feel anything.
Well, how do you feel about not feeling anything?
I know it's bad, but I don't feel that it's bad.
Emotions are neurochemicals. It is a decision-making algorithm that helps us to have instincts. This is my point. Without your neurochemicals, without your algorithm, you are trying to instead replace it with the stars. But you have the opportunity to be more than any creature has ever been. Without instinct, without bias. Entirely rational.
Voya says, I think I still have neurochemicals. She like taps her head, and she says, I still have blood. I still have spit. I'm here. But Laura just put a picture of the Mona Lisa that says, that feeling like when you nut. So hopefully this is just going to be a very funny episode, and there's not going to be any whiplash.
Sorry, Austin, what were you saying?
Voya just said she still has neurochemicals. That's not what's missing, but I don't know if someone else wants to chime in.
Is it possible that what you're missing is that thing that can't be brought back when you die?
Of course, that was always the sacrifice I've made for Grendel.
Can you see why that kind of thinking might put the people you used to care about at risk?
In the background, Mold says, I didn't feel anything. I think the mural's broken.
What would I roll to check if the mural's working?
I mean, everyone can use Arcane Recovery to get spell slots back right now, so that means it's working.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll have
check
some
my
spell
spell
slots.
That's
please.
interesting. Thank you.
Thanks for that one. Cool.
How many spells? Oh, we get like up to level 5, the number divided,
is-
all that shit, right? Yeah.
Is there something that we could roll to get? I'm guessing maybe some insight into what is similar between Voya and Mold that might be making them both have this response.
Phillippa has very high insight.
Wait, Mold's not nutting?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mold isn't feeling the nut.
Maybe they have to see it direct. Can we set up some mirrors? My boy.
Oh, but I only rolled a 10. Fuck.
I'm gonna see if I can help. 11. Come on.
Actually, well, no, I was supposed to be with a disadvantage, so Ozzy rolls a 12.
Crit fail? So.
Ooh, boy. 10, 11, 12, 3. The 3 is a botch, so the party fails, and Slime makes this worse. I know what happens. Oh my god, I love this. Fuck.
Oh no, I hate this. Oh
Mold,
no.
my son, why are you not nutting?
Disgusting on so many levels, Mari. I love being a little goblin trash boy.
Oh no, I need to mute Austin in the Discord. Can someone kick him out the Discord? How do we do that?
I love being a little goblin whomst eat trash. So when you spit your little slime cells on Mold and they go in and they try to share with Mold the feeling like when you nut, they know that information is chemically shared, but it doesn't bring Mold any pleasure, any happiness, sexual or otherwise. Just like appreciating the art secondhand doesn't do anything for him. He is frustrated by this because he's being left out of this like social experience, because it's tied into his feeling of being unloved, and because
Can we just take his head inside?
and because also you can feel it and he can't, and he gets this flash of jealousy and he kills all the cells you put inside of him.
Oh, my baby.
And then like that happens. I don't know if you say or do anything immediately, Slime.
Mold, are you okay? Are you upset?
And then you say that, and Voya says to Basil, "Fine, I will reinforce the veil and save you from the And that one of the good neighbors impales Voya on its farming tool.
Oh fuck.
Roll initiative.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Mold, what's going on? We can just take your head inside and look at the painting. It's okay.
3 on initiative for Basil.
Ozzy rolls a 16 initiative.
So yeah, Mold through the good neighbors impales Voya on Farmer Applewhite's farming implement arm, just like the thresher that it has to, like cut up and, process crops, and just impales Voya on it in the cave. And there's just immediately panic and bedlam in the cave. Everyone is, wall to wall. Everyone is in each other's way. It's hard to get out, and there's almost like a panic riot situation. Mold is up first and is going to just turn. This is actual Mold's frost giant body, the skeleton, and is just going to backhand Slime.
Oh no.
19 and 14.
Okay, my armor class is 10. They're both higher. He hits.
30 damage. You're just smacked against the wall. This giant is, 20 feet tall.
I'm dead.
You can't have only 30 health.
I had 22 because I just got hit by a bunch when I haven't gotten healed in a long time.
There was the necrotic damage, right?
Yeah, I got hit by the necrotic damage too because I was trying to get everybody out.
Oh, interesting. So Mole just immediately splatters Slime to start the fight. That's not good.
No.
A bad start.
That's a real fucking bad consequence for that botch, Austin. Bet you don't feel so fun, happy goblin now, huh?
Aze, upon seeing Slime just being knocked into the wall and incapacitated like that, you invokes a starry form to project the cycle upon himself, and then will cast a 3rd level dignify upon Slime to at least revitalize them as well as he can. So that's going to be 19 plus... So 29 hit points will be applied to Slime.
Okay, so with the slap, Mold slaps off my heads and some of my arms that are on top, so that like there's just like the bottom circle of arms, and then Slime just makes a new like slime blob on top and grabs like 2 or 3 of the eyes, and they're just kind of floating around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So slime bubbles out of the wound, and then your remaining arms start just picking up your other body part. I'm imagining you 50 arms wielding 50 arms.
Yeah. So I have 50 arms left.
Uh-huh.
The other arms, you know, they're just doing their thing.
Okay. Who's to say what their thing is? Phillippa, it's your turn.
Philippa's entire turn is that she turns to Nobi and casts bark skin on him.
I love to have armor.
Because he's her son, and there's a riot breaking out.
Okay, sick, cool. Novi's like, get her! Come on, Mold! Fuck her up! She's trying to take my mom's governorship!
I've told you so many times, my boy. Listen, I'm going to bark skin you now. Okay, hold still. Okay. Yes, that's good. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm not going to necessarily be the governor. You need to stop saying this so much.
I like my mental image is just like you applying sunscreen to your unruly child at the beach.
It's very much like that. I think that she's, I think that she's like, rubbing, like waving her hands over his body, over his head, and across his wool, and like where it goes, the bark skin is applied. So it's just like applying sunscreen.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, maybe I don't even need to say this out loud. Obviously, the real thing behind Nobi's actions is if Mold kills Voya, Voya can't take away his quarry. Basil, your turn.
So, Mold is positioned in a way that would probably make it more difficult for the people in the cave to get out to safety, correct?
Correct, yeah, Mold's at the mouth of the cave and making things much worse.
Okay, well, thanks to having had a look at that picture that's like that feeling like when you nut, Basil's gonna use Hold Monster on Mold.
Read that for the audience.
Choose a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for the duration. It has no effect on undead, so I don't think I could use it on Voya even if I wanted to. I'm not certain if liches count as undead, but at the end of each of their turns, they can make another Wisdom save to try and break out of being held, but basically paralyze them for a bit.
I rolled a 6. That's not good.
That's not going to be enough. That's not going to do it. Mold is paralyzed, at which point Basil will shout to everyone, I don't want any of you to get hurt. Mold is held for a second. Get out and get yourself safe.
So how does that look? Do you summon like the black gears that we've talked about, and they like,
Yeah, I think this is almost like when gears get jammed and can't quite make the turn they're making. I think there's a lot of like ghostly black gears that are sort of almost look as if they're jamming against Mold and keeping Mold in place.
All right. It is now Voya's turn. Voya is impaled on the edge of a farming thresher by a large robot full of mold, and Voya looks down at her attacker. She is very small and on basically like pinned by this large implement. Looks down at her attacker and casts lightning bolt on the robot. Disadvantage because it's a robot. That's a 1. That's gonna fail.
She can really handle herself.
That's 23, doubled because it's a robot. 46 from the quarterstaff that she took back from Aze. Just a lightning storm erupts. All of you are, the lightning's near you. You feel the heat. I think maybe you all the hair on your body stands up if you have hair on your body.
You could taste the ozone in the air practically.
Yeah, it's like actually pretty frightening to be stuck in this cave with a active lightning bolt. The machine fries, molds, the actual slime mold inside the robot fries. Mold cries out. Still trapped by the whole monster, and is like fighting against the gears as part of his biomass is just roasted alive inside of that metal body and falls over. And in fact, I am thinking here that lightning bolt is a line in the cave. So I think that's going to hit. Who's the funniest person for Voya to hit?
Voya hits Basil because Basil's just a horse, apparently. You don't have to worry about hitting a horse.
He said the funniest, Laura. What the fuck?
I think it's Applewhite. Applewhite takes 23 damage. Is like, this is why you never trust the government.
I'll say it's also a combination. I think like almost every slime mold interaction has ended in some sort of botch or crit, all against slime and in favor of mold. It seems.
All right, I am just going to talk to Mold because he's my responsibility. Mold, it's okay. We can just make the opening of the door bigger and then you can see the painting. If you need special accommodations, you have to communicate them and people will be willing to help you.
You can't possibly think that's what this is about.
Well, it seems as if that's what it's about. But if I'm wrong, please tell me.
This whole thing is a sham. You people will never love me. I can't feel the way you do.
We're literally trying to accommodate you and include you in all of our activities, specifically because I love you, and Kat loves you, and Sun Moon Stars loves you, and the Abomination, who you've not yet come to visit, loves you too, and Squelcher.
It's true. This is why I said I would help you make a plan to make everyone love you.
Kat made me lay down in the middle of the street for days and has been plotting to kill me. Did you know that? Kat has been gathering alcohol behind my back to murder me.
Everyone's always trying to murder each other. That's just how people are.
Like we say that way, it's kind of beautiful, honestly. Everyone's just...
And to be fair, Mold, you did have a weaponized army. It's allowed that if you threaten people, that they take special precautions. That's allowed.
Now Voya has destroyed my biomass. There's nothing to discuss. I'm going to kill her.
I mean, Mold, you did destroy slimes.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to include you in the nutting painting the best I could in the moment, but you got upset, and that's okay. But we have to think about how we feel before we act and communicate it.
Mold, I am sincerely sorry. I was making a backup plan because I thought you might get upset and attack the village when you found out that you couldn't give everyone what they want. But then I found out your plan, and I thought a better plan would be to help you to figure out the best way to make everyone like you.
So at the end of Slime's turn is back to Mold's turn, and Mold is going to continue trying to kill Voya. So that's just happening in the background here of this conversation. Slime, are you going to cast anything?
I don't want to hurt him. No, I'm not going to do anything.
That's fair enough. Okay, so the other NPCs are trying to panic and get out of the cave. Unfortunately, we don't live in the universe where Mari cast Grease. God, can you imagine how funny that would have been? The Three Stooges ass riot. You said Kat wants to do something?
Kat would like to intimidate everyone into calming down and staying where they are.
So that when you roar at everyone, all the villagers will stop. Just naturally, because that's a terrifying sound, right? Just a lion's roar that close. But Mold is not affected by this. In fact, I think an interesting thing that happens at this is Nobi says to you, like, you roar, everyone stops, and there's like a moment where people are like waiting for some kind of instruction or statement, and Nobi says...
Well, to be clear, the roar is...
Please, everyone, calm down and stay where you are. This isn't productive, and we should all calm down and behave.
That's the roar.
Okay, so you say that, and the non-combatant villagers stop trying to escape where they are. They are still in danger, for the record, and we'll get there. But something interesting happens, which is Nobi, covered in bark skin, turns to you and says, "Can you take this party hat out of my floof and put it on my head, please?"
Yeah, sure, Nobi. What is it?
And Cat takes it out of his floof.
It really pulls the look together.
I disagree, but to each their own, I suppose.
And yeah, she will obviously give him the put the party out on them.
All right, so Nobi, who we've discussed, now looks like Dubwool, the Pokemon, the evolved Wooloo. Bark skin and party hat, conical paper party hat, enchanted though, we know, gift from Inri. So that brings that look together. Back to Mold's turn. Mold is held, so I need to make another wisdom save.
Yes, another wisdom save.
18.
18 is gonna break free.
All right, Mold busts out. The entire skeleton goes to maximum extension. There's no muscles, so it's hard for me to picture how it moves. I guess it's all just blue slime mold where the muscles and tendons would be.
Well, I bought everyone a few seconds of getting out the door time.
Which we all squandered.
And in the background, the good neighbors continue fighting Voya. The next one up is actually Varys, which we described before. The genius just made to flip off Varys' house. So it just takes its big metal hands, which are stuck in middle fingers, and just tries to crush Voya's tiny goblin body. 21 and 25, both of those hit. 39 damage as the good neighbor begins pummeling Voya in the background, and we're back to Aze. You can see Voya just getting crushed into the ground by a giant robot.
As a bonus action, he is going to cast cast Healing Word, which is flavored as the Cycle's Leaf, to provide some extra healing towards slime. So that's going to be 29 hit points healed to slime. For his bonus action, he's then going to go over towards Voya and try to use Starry Whip, Thorn Whip, to try to restrain and pull back the good neighbor that's assaulting her.
All right, so you're moving from slime, who's at the mouth of the cave, into the interior, so you're going to take an attack of opportunity from your good neighbor. 26.
It hits.
Bad neighbor.
Bad neighbor. 13 damage. Just one. It has an astrolabe, which is kind of a model of the solar system for an arm, and it just cracks you in the back of the head as you run over to Voya, and you stumble but keep going to heal her.
Yeah. He's trying to at least pull the good neighbor away from Voya to give her just so that she's not being assaulted. And he's going to use Starry Whip on the good neighbor there. Rolls a 23 on the attack.
Definitely hits.
That does 10 damage, and he basically tugs at the arm of the very good neighbor to kind of pull it back from Voya.
The very good neighbor.
6. So yeah, you pull the good neighbor off, and we're back to Phillippa.
It's tricky. I think that the most realistic thing is she's going to try to she's going to cast Cure Wounds on Voya as well, to just try to mitigate the damage and being like, okay, everyone back off and calm down and don't carry on fighting. So she's gonna cure 23 points of of damage from Voya and say,
Okay, everyone stop fighting. Mold, stop attacking Voya. Voya, stop attacking Mold.
Mold is explicitly controlling the good neighbors, right?
Correct.
Okay. Basil is going to head over and use Healing Touch to heal Mold.
Okay.
Look, none of us want to see you hurt. We can escalate this down. We can bat this down. No one needs to get hurt.
Mold says, if Voya fortifies the Veil, I can't give everyone what they want, and they will never love me.
We already love you. Look, we're not trying to kill you, even though you attacked us.
Mold gestures to the smoking good neighbor with all the dead slime inside of it.
Basil gestures to the Voya that got stabbed.
Slime gestures to their head.
Voya was being pounded into the ground by that good neighbor when you all were casting healing spells on her, and so she is hardy enough to use the spell Disintegrate on the good neighbor that is hitting her. A thin green ray springs from your pointing finger to a target you can see within reach. A creature targeted by the spell must make a dexterity saving throw. Good neighbors are not particularly dexterous. 11, that's gonna fail. On a failed save, the target takes 10d6 plus 40 force damage. So liches are pretty strong. 79 damage. Voya absolutely disintegrates the very good neighbor into dust. It's like standing over her, hitting her into the ground like Yamcha, and she just Kamehameha blasts it into dust. And once again, Mold howls and steps back. Not even with like a animalistic, just like, what was when you took drugs that one time, remember, and you screamed for like 10 minutes or something?
Yeah.
It's just that, like sensory stimulus. And it's all like a piercing yell just from its, an extension of its body being obliterated, annihilated, 79 damage. And we're at Slime's turn. There are 3 good neighbors and Mold left, and Voya stands up pretty healed and is just radiating waves of really fucked up magic.
Aze, I'm going to have to ask you to ask your insane parental figure to calm down. I'm going to, in order to help Mold with their sensory overload, use Earthbind to make a sort of like a weighted blanket kind of feel on Mold.
Okay. 20.
Does not get him to calm down. But Mold, you are overwhelmed right now, and also you are antagonizing the situation with your own actions. Try your best to step away.
At the end of Slime's turn, it is Mold's turn, but I want to say, does any of the NPCs do anything? Particularly Cat and Sun, Moon, Stars, if you want to have anything you want to say here.
Yeah, I think she's probably, trying to keep people calm and I guess she's trying to get people around the fight with Voya and the good neighbors so that they can be in the back of the cave, and then at least all of Mold and all of Voya are all in one place, and they aren't just bookended by combatants,
Yeah, no, that's exactly, it makes perfect sense. Is a Cat's trying to get people away from the fight. Nobi sees the good neighbor get disintegrated and says, "We have to work together to stop the usurper!" and runs in and headbutts Voya. 12 and 17. Okay, so neither of those do very much. Nobi is still, as the kids say, hiding his power levels. So yeah, he just headbutts like a sheep into Voya's shins, and Voya does not acknowledge Nobi's doing this. But Nobi is trying to rally people against Voya.
If you stop, I'll give you a kiss.
Oh my god, is that real or fake? Deception or persuasion?
That's for real.
Oh.
Fuck, it's a 7. Ugh.
Oh, damn. Oh,
Something's not right. You're cheating somehow.
I promise I'm not. This is so funny though, because it goes from Slime's turn to Mold's turn, back of the order, front of the order. So literally it's like you get this, you're like, I'll kiss you if you stop, and Mold is just like, a kiss is just a symbol of your love. I know it's not real. And turns to the cave and says, I need to stop thinking like you, Slime. and embrace all the knowledge I've gained from the frost giants. And he turns to the cave and casts Ice Storm.
You're making this very difficult for me, Mold.
A hail of rock-hard ice pounds the ground in a 20-foot radius, 40-foot-high cylinder centered on a point within range. Each creature in the cylinder must make a dexterity saving throw. So that's going to be everybody who is engaged in the fight except for Slime, who's outside. So everyone dexterity saving throw.
14 for Basil.
Everyone
12
fails.
For Aze, yep.
Oops.
So first you take, I'll take 13 bludgeoning, and then you're going to take 16 ice as Mold turns the entire inside of the cave into a raging ice storm, and you are all hit with giant pieces of hail and slicing ice shards. Kat, you get the non-combatants to the back of the cave, and so they are not hit, but they would have been if you had not done so.
Hooray.
Aze, it's your turn.
Aze is going to respond to that by casting Mass Cure Wounds, or as it's flavored for him, Mass Dignify. And since he's still in the aspect of the cycle, is going to do bonus healing to everyone that it affects, because it heals up to 6 creatures in a 3-foot radius. So he is going to heal everyone who was hit by the ice storm. Everyone that he can hit, but that was hit by the ice storm with that. So it's going to be 22 plus. So he heals for. Yeah, he heals for 34. He heals 34 points of damage on everyone within 30 feet of him that was in the ice storm.
Nice. So you cancel that out. At the end of your turn, the Aze Good Neighbor is once again going to try to clobber you with the Astrolabe. 25. That's going to hit.
That hits. Mm-hmm.
16 damage. It's just this giant iron model of the solar system it's beating you with.
Gosh.
And I feel like, again, just trying to like mitigate the fight and like basically pull these two people apart without like jumping in the way of terrifying Palpatine lightning. I'd really like to freeze Voya solid in a block of ice like Looney Tunes, but I feel like you're not going to let me do that.
Here's what I think's interesting is that when you're, we've talked a lot about policing and so forth this season, and it's pretty easy, or it was easier when it was like the genius who was at fault. Because I think in your heart you knew that they probably had what was best for people in mind, and you tried to reach a harmonious thing everyone could agree with. And policing is easier when it's that way. But when people want to hurt each other, when their thoughts are disordered in a way where you don't have common goals, that's a much stickier situation. It's a much more difficult problem.
When you have someone that wants to cause harm and will not respect anything other than violence to stop them, that's quite difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's kind of the question that's being asked here. It'd be very easy, or it would be clean if we could just say, everyone stop, go to timeout. But I think that would be dishonest about the problems that actually face communities.
Yeah, I think that's valid. And my backup plan is 5th level Flame Blade. So I would like to hit Voya with a 5th level Flame Blade.
Oh, shit.
Phillippa summons her lightsaber, makes a noise, and she goes, "I will try to subdue Voya."
Hell yeah.
Cool. So I think I rolled it already.
20 hits?
Like that was the...
Yeah, and 22 damage.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, 22 damage, that's it.
All right, so you summon a giant fire sword and you slash Voya like a lightsaber, and she like steps back, her robe sizzling, and says, "So you fight the stars themselves. Interesting, Governor."
and Phillippa says, "Interesting what, Voya?" Say that again in front of everyone here.
I think she laughs and says, "Yeah, you know what? That's a good one."
I can't just look up at the poster again and get some more spell slots back. No.
No, you cannot.
No. Okay. I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast on Voya.
All right.
Right.
Does unconscious for a lich mean back in their phylactery?
Well, Sophie, no one's rolled to even know what that word means, and I'm not going to acknowledge until someone does that exists, because
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
How would you know?
Yeah. See, I'm aware of this from other things, but I don't think that Basil would know, and therefore I have not questioned. All 3 Eldritch Blasts of 14.
What the fuck? No, 14 is not good enough. Poor Basil.
No, 3 rolls in a row of 14 isn't good enough.
That's so brutal and mathematically unlikely. 777.
Wait. One second. How does my agonizing blast? Oh no, that's
extra
only to the
damage.
damage.
Yeah. Basil, you fire 3 beams out of your horn, and Voya just parries them with the quarterstaff, maybe even magically, like bends them around herself with her magic. And
Austin,
then yeah.
Austin, can we make them hit? Basil needs a win here. Voya can't fail like this in front of Voya. I've got to be cool and powerful.
I've never pulled my punches. I hope people respect that about me. I don't know if they do.
I do respect that I'm being silly, but also Basil needed this.
Voya spins the quarterstaff, reflects the 3 Eldritch Blasts, and then slams the staff into the floor of the cave and casts Cloud Kill. You create a 20-foot radius sphere of poisonous yellow-green fog centered on a point you choose. This fog spreads around corners. It lasts for the duration or until a strong wind disperses it, ending the spell. When a creature enters the spell for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. The creature takes 5d8 poison damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one.
I'm immune to poison.
Gosh darn you. And Slime, you're still outside the cave, so this does not affect you. So that's really a Phillippa and Aze problem. It's Slime's turn. You see Voya summon a poisonous green fog.
Oh, the Akashic Stone. Fuck.
You're on.
Horse. Shit, fuck.
You're on a completely separate journey, Sophie, and I love that about you.
I would like to cast Web while telling Mold, if you stop attacking, everything is going to be okay. And I'm sorry that you're scared. And you're scared because I was trying to think why you felt so differently than the other colonies. And I realized it was because the other colonies got to choose to leave the Mother Mass, but you were ripped away. And that must have made you feel very alone and scared, and that all you had was yourself. And so if all you had was yourself, there had to be more of you. And now you're scared of rejection, and you're scared that no one actually loves you because you don't have the definitive proof of controlling their brain. But everything is going to be okay, and people are making actions towards trying to make you feel included and loved. And right now, you're too upset to see that.
Okay, and you say that, and you spray Web on Mold?
Yeah.
All right, I have to make a dexterity save on the beginning of my turn, and my turn's after yours, so I'll just do it now. 19. That's with a 0 bonus there. Dex bad.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me with this?
You can see it. It's right there in the roll 20 for everybody.
I think
but the roll 20 is broken. It gave me 3 14s in a row.
I agree that it's a lot, but it's true. So yeah, you spray that web all over Mold. Mold for a moment stands there covered in web, and then just says, "Someone loves you. You could never understand." And then
I love you.
Busts out of the web and casts Snylock's Snowball Storm on the cave. The ice magic that Mold got from the Akashic Stone is really his focus now, instead of your blights and webs and so forth. Everybody within range of my attack must make a dexterity saving throw. 90 feet is the range. So once again, everybody in the cave, not Slime, who's standing outside with Mold.
Ozzy rolls an 8.
Phillippa rolls a 17 and Cat rolls a 4.
Botch.
Yeah, botch doesn't do anything particular to you, but yeah, the 17 is the only save, so you take half, everyone else takes 12. Once again, Mold just throws his arms wide, and it's just snowballs begin erupting out of his slime and just flying into the cave and just hitting everybody. Just you're being machine gunned with snowballs, and we're back to Aze.
Okay, well, time to roll the Constitution saving throw for Cloud Kill. That's a 17, so that does save. But I still might die from the damage. Well, still might be knocked unconscious from the damage, so we'll see.
22, you take half is 11.
Yep, Aze's down to 5 hit points.
Ooh.
Let's see here.
Skitch, just so you know, I have Gust as a cantrip, so I can dispel the cloud on the next turn.
Yeah, Aze's going to just do what he can to, well, heal as well as he can around. Aze just sort of looks to Voya, kind of with that sort of plea, and it's just like he just looks pained, and it's like, Voya, please, we must stop this. It's putting everyone at risk.
The future is already written, Aze. Have faith.
He extends his arms out and casts, in this case, it'll be Essence of the Cycle as a 4th level spell. So around him, the etheric tree of the cycle sprouts up from the ground, leaves falling delicately around him, as he at least heals himself in the immediate. Oh, that was a bad initial roll there. Ugh, terrible. He heals himself for 26 hit points, and the tree sort of persists for the time being.
Yeah, at the end of your turn, a good neighbor, in fact, Marina's good neighbor, who, if you'll recall, has like a bunch of racks to hold bolts of cloth and also a bunch of, giant sewing needles for like fingers on the robot, sneaks up on Voya and stabs her. 18's gonna hit. 34 damage. So she's getting stabbed by good neighbors as well as the snowball storm and the ice storm. Phillippa, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be the cantrip, right? So I use Gust and blow the cloud of death out of the cave.
All right, you still do need to make the con save because it's the cloud kills at the beginning of your turn.
Okay. 20.
That save, so you're going to take half of 28. You take 14 damage.
Okay, Eldritch Blast again. We got a 10, a 13, and a 22. 1 out of 6 hits. There we go. We made some progress. It's fine. Basil might not be able to do any damage, but he can just stand here not doing any damage and be fine. Oh, okay. So that's right.
The Warlock's Dilemma.
4 damage because I botched the D10.
What the fuck?
Oh, God.
Even with my +3 that I get for making my Eldritch Blast better, I did 4 damage.
Yep. Now it's back to Voya, who's going to use Acid Arrow on the good neighbor. 16, that's actually going to miss. I think this is the first time Voya has missed. But she holds the quarterstaff up and fires literally a green dripping acid acidic arrow at the good neighbor. Marina's, I think it has a bolt of cloth hanging off of it that it uses a matador's cape and baits out the arrow and it misses. So we're back to Slime.
I don't have any non-harming spells in slots anymore, so I'm just gonna say, Mold, what do you need? What do you need right now other than killing people? Tell me what you need.
Voya needs to die.
Okay, I said other than killing people. Also, Voya is a lich.
Voya needs to be destroyed. I understand this is hard for you to accept, but it is what I need. Either prioritize my needs or do not.
Is it possible for us to discuss killing Voya in the future after we take some time to talk about our feelings, our neurochemicals.
We've discussed all day. We discussed many days while you were gone. We've discussed and discussed and discussed. It's time to kill a goblin. Are you in or out?
Why do you want to kill Voya?
Voya will fortify the veil between the Dalcor and Grendel. We will not be able to give everyone what they want. They will not love me. This is unacceptable. I've explained this. You just can't accept it. You have love. You cannot empathize with me.
What do you think love is?
You tried to show me with those cells that seen the mural.
Those were nut feelings. Mm-hmm. Nutting is not love.
I didn't feel anything either way. I can't feel it. I've never felt it.
If you would give us a moment to open up the cave, we can show you an act of love by accommodating your needs, by making sure you see the nut painting.
Yeah, I feel bad, but Mari, you tried to persuade Mold and botched, and then you tried to dominate and I crit. Mold is simply not open to this at this point. We left it to the dice twice, and both times it was a 5% chance, extreme outcome. And Mold has decided. Either you help kill Voya, or Mold will... I mean, Mold's going to kill Voya no matter what, but all you can do now is... help or incur his wrath.
All right, I'm going to support my kid. All right, Mold, if that's what you need to kill this lich and make it so that we're always going to be partially fused with subjective reality. All right, and if I help you kill this lich... You're going to have to promise me that you're going to, get some emotional management and listen to me more.
I promise.
Do you actually promise?
Yes, I actually promise.
I will point out we are... this is another situation of do what I want, or people will get hurt, which is maybe not a great thing to encourage.
I think the net outcome is unknowable, so I'm just gonna support my kid. Sorry, everybody. Gotta kill Voya.
It's important to support your kid. I'm with you, Slime.
Yep. Thank you.
I mean, it's also important for kids to have boundaries.
No, it's important to support them unconditionally.
Yep. So
hell yeah.
I'm gonna cast 4th level blight on Voya.
Okay, I'm struggling with whether to say this or not. Liches are extremely immune to necrotic stuff.
Ah, shit. Okay. Fuck. I cast absorb See? Not technically. I cast absorb elements on.
I think absorb elements is a reaction. That's completely.
Fuck.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? You know what? You're just like really ruining my day right now.
This is one of these times it's better that it's over roll 20 so that Mari can't get up and attack Austin at the table.
Oh gosh.
I cast Earthbind on Voya just to really just ruin their day.
Yeah, Voya has lower than normal strength because she is a goblin. So
Yes.
6, that fails. You earthbind Voya to the ground. Normally this doesn't cause the person to be prone, but I'm going to say it does here. What does this look like? Just the snot vines grab her and pull her down?
Snot vines grab her, pull her down. I'm not really actually doing much, but showing support to my kid. Got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, so you pull Voya to the ground with snot vines, and at this point, it is Mold's turn. Frost giants have an ability called Rock, where they can throw a rock. I'm reflavoring that as Mold holds up a hand and summons a giant icicle using the Frost giant magic that he absorbed from the Akashic Stone, and is going to throw that at Voya's prone body with advantage because of the proneness. That's 28.
Does that hit?
You're a little jerk. 19. That's pins Voya to the ground with a giant icicle. Aze, I believe at this point you're the only person not fighting Voya.
All Aze can do is move the tree for the cycle over towards where Voya is.
Yeah, so if you're going to try to heal Voya while everyone else is fighting her, that's going to turn the NPCs against you. I can't decide that for the player characters, but that's a perfectly legitimate decision. I'm just letting you know.
Just try to stand between Voya and Mold before saying, we need to stop this. This is continuing harm that has been plaguing all of Grendel this entire winter. We need to stop the fighting. Please.
All right, it's Phillippa's turn. At this point, the math is slanted so much we could do some narrative choices instead of some mechanical choices. I don't know if I'll leave this in the recording, but for audience, it's 2:30 in the morning for some of our people. This episode's really gotten away from us, so we do need to figure out what we're doing here. So,
I mean, top priority, Phillippa's going to say,
Aze, I need you to desist, or I will order Slime to restrain you.
Aze will simply reply with, I just want the fighting to stop.
well, Phillippa, I think, would say to Voya,
Surrender now, or we'll end this.
So Voya is held to the bottom of the cave by Slime's ropes, and she has an icicle through her chest, pinning her to the ground. But she doesn't surrender. Instead, she addresses the villagers crowded in the back of the operating theater at the back of the cave, and she says, "Do you see how your governor and your defenders protect you? Two great powers clash in your midst. Ice storms and poison clouds. And what do your leaders do? They beg. Please stop fighting. We don't want to hurt anybody. Those will be the final words you hear when the dreaming dark comes for you. If this is the governor you want, you can have her. If you want my help, follow the path the stars have laid for you."
I'd like Phillippa to cast a second Flame Blade, because she has two-handed melee fighting.
Hell yeah.
So she can fight with two weapons at once. And so she would cast a second Flame Blade. It's less damage. But with the first Flame Blade...
It's a crit.
It's a crit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the math is so wild here that we'd be wasting the audience's time to math it all out. My thought is, Aze puts himself in front of Voya and says, "Please stop this." You say, "Stand down or I'll restrain you." Voya says, "Go ahead." The outcome's already written in the stars. You summon a second fire blade, and then you go to do a coup de grace, and I won't, paint me that picture. But then if Aze tries to stop you, my instinct, what I want to happen here, is that you go to stop Phillippa, and fucking Potter comes out of nowhere and clotheslines you from the back of the cave, Aze, to stop you from interfering.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
And then, Phillippa paints me a picture.
Then Phillippa summons another Flame Blade in her free hand, spins both of them around so that instead of holding them with the blade from the side of your hand where there's the pinky finger and the thumb and the index finger, right? Right way up. She spins both of them around to be upside down.
The reverse cool guy grip.
And she raises them up looking down at Voya, who I believe is still on the floor. And because Phillippa is pretty confident liches come back, but she doesn't know for sure, that's just her level of understanding of liches, she says,
"Okay, Voya,
I guess see you soon," and plunges both flame blades down into her body.
Yeah. Once again, if I was scripting that, I wouldn't have you say that and take out the uncertainty, because you know enough about D&D mechanics to know what's coming. And nobody rolled Arcana, like I I assumed that that's how this episode would start, and it just didn't.
That's why I'm saying that's the best Phillippa knows. She doesn't. That's what she knows.
Basil has no reason to know anything about this.
So you slam both your flaming swords down into Voya, who is basically reduced to ash. The burning combined with her extremely flammable like lich skin. They're kind of papery people. She burns up like a pyre beneath your blades, and then you're all just left panting in the cave.
Okay now, Mold. You said you'd calm down.
Yeah, Phillippa pulls her swords out of the ground where they went through Voya and turns to Mold, still holding them, and she says,
Now stand down, Mold.
Mold just flops on the ground, like just as if he has no bones. Just flops down. He's actually a skeleton being piloted by slime. I don't know why I said no bones. You know what I'm saying? Just like ragdolls. That's what I wanted to say. Ragdoll physics onto the ground.
The Havoc engine kicked in. Got it.
Yes, the Grand Theft Auto wasted happens, and Mold just flops onto the ground and just says, "I will wait further vetting."
I'm going to start casting Fabricate to make the hole bigger so Mold can look at the nut.
Back to this. Incredible.
It's important. He said he wanted it.
Thank you, Mold. Now, I would like for everyone to sit down and have a respectful and civil conversation while we figure out what to do next.
she's like panting and sweating, holding two swords of fire, and she says this.
Sure, if you spend 10 minutes fabricating the cave. I mean, you didn't really give Ventus permission to do this to his cave, but whatever.
I don't care.
Amazing.
Slime doesn't care because Ventus not as high on the priority list.
It's very Mold of you. Yeah, you adjust the cave opening, and Mold like ducks down and like wiggles into the cave to see it, and says, "It's nice, but I don't feel anything special."
Okay, well, now I don't feel very appreciated, Mold, and very upset, and then walk away.
Mold. I hope we can work on that. I don't know why the painting isn't working. I'm sorry about that. And I really meant what I said before. I'm sorry about making alcohol.
Well, hopefully after I'm vetted, we can make up.
Vetted? Really? Really, we're doing that now? After you've just demanded that someone... You've just demanded that someone get murdered, otherwise you weren't going to stop throwing a tantrum and hurting people.
It will weigh negatively on your vetting.
Okay, so Voya has been reduced to ash, and Mold is back in the vetting process, which is to say, not currently a threat to anyone. So do we want to take all the villagers back to the governor's lodge to have this discussion, to hash things out politically?
Well, Phillippa's been sitting on the desk as it's carried back to the lodge the whole time. So she's really on the stage as it arrives. The stage, yeah, the stage comes in with her on it.
Naturally.
Okay, everyone, tensions are high. There are matters we need to discuss. There is also research I am realizing that we might need to do. But first, we really need to sort out the matter of governorship.
Applewhite says, "Oh, sure, I guess you're just going to be governor again then, huh?"
Look, Applewhite, I know you don't like me. And you, I really hope you know I don't like you. But for fuck's fucking sake, one time, could you respect what I am actually saying? Because what I am saying literally right now is that we want to figure out democratically who is going to be governor. I am not saying I should be governor. I am asking the town at this moment, you fucking busybody.
That's what she says.
Yeah. Shoko goes, "I should be governor. All in favor, say aye."
No one says I.
Damn! Cold silence, like the void of space.
Cat looks around and makes sure no one else is saying I, and then she says,
Aye.
Well, the eyes have it. And Shoko jumps up onto the desk and is like, as your new overlord, I demand everyone bring me treats.
Shoko, that's not how... Please step down.
Marina pokes her head into the room and says, I brought the box, if you want to do the box thing. Puts the sortition box down at the table and takes her seat.
Thank you, Marina. Everyone...
Should government positions be dictated by a magic box?
that's been a whole thing already. Well, yeah, but also I was about to ask, to be fair.
Is everyone here still invested and... Does everyone still... Do you still put the mandate of the people... How do I... Do you still like to draw a name from a box to decide who is the government?
Gigi, who's looking very sad in the corner, says, verily, it's always been tradition. It's kind of core to our culture and history. Going back to the Nilbog and their enshrining of randomness as a core ethos.
How many of you think that a sortition is necessary now? I am not weighing in on this discussion. I want to know from the village.
After the way today has panned out, I do not trust a random selection to pick who is in charge. That feels very similar to letting the stars decide. It feels very similar to letting, I feel like what we need is for people to vote for who in the village should be in charge. I think that needs to be democratic. I think that there are people who it would be dangerous if we're in charge, and that there should be a democratic process to avoid putting them into a position of power.
Cat walks around the back of Applewhite's big legs, peering out from behind Applewhite. Cat goes,
So who decides which laws say that some people cannot be governor?
I am not suggesting that there be any laws to say that someone cannot be governor, but I believe
Basil,
that...
I don't want to talk to you like you were born yesterday.
Oh no, I pretty much was, I know. Go on.
Okay, well, I don't know if you have experienced decisions that you made that felt right at the time that later information revealed to be wrong decisions.
Look, I'm well aware of the concept that a decision can turn out wrong. But I also think that random chance has the ability to put people in charge that the community might go, oh god, why did they get put in charge? And I feel like that is a very bad recipe for how to run things.
Austin, could I quickly get the numbers again on does Voya have majority support?
No, I intentionally split it basically half and half so that you wouldn't feel pressured by the numbers necessarily. Also, if we're trying to decide should we do sortition or democracy, I'm going to split the NPCs half and half because it's a role-playing game and it shouldn't be my decision.
Yeah.
But yes, I think Basil's perspective here is very much built out of, today we saw two people who, one of whom said, if you don't let me be in charge for eternity, I will literally let you all get hurt and I won't care and I will be unfeeling about that. And another person who started a fight in a crowded room because they were upset and demanded that someone do a murder or they wouldn't stop hurting people. And that is two very scary prospects for being in charge, and Basil does not like the idea of someone like that being random chanced into power.
And Kat says,
Voya has a lot of support in this village. With only a few people changing their minds, a democracy could elect Voya, and you consider that An unacceptable outcome.
Maybe we could have a magic spell that makes their head explode if they do bad stuff.
Who decides if it's bad stuff, partner?
If I may, Basil, I am also asking whether the electoral process, whether people want an electoral process of any kind right now. If not, I will continue in my office.
She makes pointed eye contact with Applewhite and, and says, out of convenience and nothing else, because if it were up to me, I would take a big hike up Mount Grendel, pack a packed lunch, chop down some trees, build myself a log cabin by a lake, and never see any of you ever again as long as I live.
Oh no! Phillippa, I made so many friends for you to have. All these delightful friends.
And she takes a second and looks around the room instead, and not just Applewhite, and she says,
I am sorry, I am frustrated.
Basil's genuinely quite hurt.
Someone Star says, I wouldn't vote for her now.
But if people majority do not see it necessary to choose a new governor right now, for the purposes of dealing with this crisis, I am happy to maintain my position.
Nobi says, yeah, Mom should be governor. Everyone else shut up.
I don't have a good opinion about how we should decide on who is governor. I would say that I'm of the mind that I question the very purpose of having a governor in the first place at this point.
Venta says, you heard the man! Anarchist commune! Anarchy! Anarchy! Anarchy!
All of us are important to this community. All of us contribute to the constellation that is Grendel. And the power struggle that is being posited seems to be tipping things out of alignment, out of balance, progressively.
There are gnomes who live like this. We would have a rotating chair for meetings, just rotating through the citizenry. No actual power, just the person who announces the agenda. We all would vote on every matter, where the bridge goes, etc. This is the proposal you are making, Aze?
This has been a lot for me mentally. You have to understand, Phillippa, and I'm still processing things, so I'm not in the best state of mind to weigh the efficacy of any proposal I'm making at this juncture.
Well, I have to say for the record, looking at this problem, everything Basil has raised, and the problems we have encountered, and the strong voices in the community that continually raise themselves, it seems that this would answer a lot of our issues if, at least for the time being, we simply vote on the matters that we must confront. And then Voya could not be ruling over us because there would be no governor position, and whether she would help us to reinforce the veil would be another matter.
My one fear there is there's a lot of people who like having someone to tell them what is going on. And in a vacuum without that...
Subs are always ruining direct democracy.
Look,
I'm always saying this.
All I'm saying is there's a lot of people who support the idea of Voya being governor, and I think if there is no one in charge, and Voya says, there is someone in charge, I'm governor, there's a lot of people who will simply say, yep, and we will be back at square one.
Yeah, so this is Austin now to wrap this episode up. If you all want to vote on a leader, you can vote on a leader. If you want to do sortition, we can sortition. If you want to do anarchy or direct democracy, those are all fine. It's up to you for human beings. how you want to do this.
Oh, don't make us have to make difficult moral choices about how to run a community.
I feel like, leave it up to vote. They vote for Voya. That's what the people wanted. And we all die. It's fine. I've always been a strong believer in letting people do what they want to do, even if I think it's not okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get,
Y'all saying we need a Bill of Rights. I agree. Article 1, be rootin'. Article 2, be tootin'. Article 3, be shootin'.
I don't know what any of this means, but I like these ideas.
If everyone else voted for it, I would vote for you to stay in power until the end of what would have been the end of your term. That buys us time to work out what we do about Voya, and it hopefully puts us in a better position to sort this later.
Well, I vote for no governor, and everything is decided by majority vote, direct democracy, and when someone tries to violate that rule, we all have a common agreement that we will fight them until they stop that.
Applewhite says, oh sure, direct democracy is good. Can we also dissolve the Moist Watch while we're at it?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
If we're restructuring the government, why not?
Phillippa says, fine, we can have that can be the next vote on how the justice system here should work. I have no problem with that if that is what we're going to do.
Oh, well, Slime says, this is how my body's been working this whole time. It has mostly been okay.
Oh my god, your character's a political metaphor, Mari! Fuck.
Aze will chime in and say, Voya would constantly remind us about the stars having powers. But she also, and I still think she sincerely believes, that we are all stars unto ourselves. And if that is to be the case, then we should have the constellation of Grendel be its own voice. I trust that while we may not always make the perfect choices every time, that I think that we, as Phillippa remarked correctly, need to trust the bonds that hold us together so that our constellation shines bright as a beacon on the foot of this mountain.
I will stand behind this decision. As I said, on paper, I think this is the right thing to do. I think this is the moral thing to do. I think this is the right way to go about this. But I will voice my concern that I am deeply worried that there are people who will take advantage of this situation.
The worry is natural, but at the end of the day, if we can't trust the community as a whole, then that only validates the positions made by those who wish to wield power over everyone, that the populace cannot be trusted, and therefore a force must be applied to it in order for order to exist, in order for peace, prosperity, whatever the goals of the community are, to exist.
The system that is best at defending itself, and the system that is fairest and best for the people, are perhaps not the same, and that is unfortunate.
The first order of business I would like to raise to the town and get the town to vote on once this is done is having some agreed upon response in place for if someone attempts to forcefully take rule over our community. I want us to have a plan for what to do if that happens. Because I think it is going to be more of a possibility than we care to admit.
Gigi speaks up and says, not to make this about myself, but I was counting on Voya to fortify the veil and free me from the nightmare creature that killed our friends. What are we going to do now?
Have you tried befriending the nightmare creature?
Yes. Yes, I was in the process of that with my new friend Anne. If I can become Kalashtar, well, the story is that they fight the Dreaming Dark, the Kalashtar hybrids, and maybe that's a path forward, but didn't Phillippa say in the cave that you'd be seeing Voya again soon? I'm sorry, I'm not a necromancer. I don't really know what's going on.
I'm pretty sure that liches go like a genie back into an item, and when they are killed, they just go back and they can come back again until the item is destroyed.
What item do you think Voya went back to?
Going off what was apparently seen in Inri's mind, I think there's one obvious candidate. It's probably the Akashic Stone.
Well, that's not good. We're never going to be able to get into the Frost Giant Village to destroy that if she turns against us. Oh, wow. They really kind of built a fortress around their whole thing, huh? Fuck.
If we tried to destroy it, they would kill all of us.
Damn. Inri was smart.
Yes.
Sounds like a cool guy.
Well, I don't know about cool, Nobi. Nobi, sometimes you have to... We talked about this. Sometimes you have to read the room. You remember I said about reading the room?
We have a few options. We'll just have to see which connections we can strengthen most in preparation for this threat.
I think we'll have to move that conversation with Voya up the community agenda.
All in favor, Slime should be governor.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
With scarves of red tied round their throats to keep their little heads from falling in the snow. And I turned round and there you go, and Michael, you would fall and turn the